So, in this game, I play Ekko in the jungle, and right from the start, they chose to invade, and it was a successful invasion for them because they got a kill out of it. Anytime this happens, I always go to the enemy's jungle, and I go on the opposite side of the map and take whatever buff they're taking from me. So in this game, they take my blue, so I'm going to go over to their blue, and 90% of the time, I have no problems. The only thing I need to be wary of is the enemy top laner, who sometimes guards their blue. Urgot is already in lane, so I don't need to worry about him. If you're really confident and maybe you have a teammate with you, you could afford to maybe wait around, smite the buff that they're trying to take, and then leave before they actually end up killing you. But I wasn't as confident in this game because this was my first time playing as Ekko in the jungle, and I had only played him a couple of times mid lane before this game, so I wanted to play it as safe as I could. Now that I've taken their blue, I'll go over and take my red, so me and Kindred are in the exact same position. So what they got from invading was a kill, and definitely that did put their team a little bit ahead, but at least in terms of jungling, Kindred is exactly in the same position I am. But having said that, I don't have the best clear in the jungle, so I'm probably lagging a bit behind Kindred, because I go to his blue, then I go to my red, and then I don't think that I can take any other camps here efficiently, so I go over to my blue side and I go for wolves and the big chicken thing. Ideally, I would have gone for a gank top side after having taken my red, but we have Alistar top side and he was being completely bullied in the lane, so he didn't have a lot of health. He was just pushed under his turret, and I didn't want to go for a gank in that situation, so I left it for then. It was around here, after having died already, where Ashe just leaves the game. We're left in a 4v5 situation where we have a first time Ekko jungler, we have an Alistar top lane against an Urgot, and now we only have Swain on bottom lane. Now here I'm looking for a gank on Urgot, because he's right under the turret, and it's a great opportunity, especially because Alistar is walking up, he's very close by. I probably should have waited a little bit longer, maybe a few extra seconds, just to make sure that me and Alistar were in sync. But look what he does, he doesn't even bother following, and he just stops to attack some minions. I don't understand. And even Urgot could tell that Alistar wasn't following up, so he stopped running and just killed me. If Alistar followed, we would have definitely got a takedown on Urgot, even if I had died. So that was terrible play from him, even if I didn't start that gank properly. I left my camp there because I saw Kindred mid lane as well, so I thought Galio might need some help, so I went over to help him out. So what you'd have noticed there is that when I came for a gank on mid lane, Galio didn't just stop, attack some minions and let me die. He actually joined in and we ended up getting a double kill. The only unfortunate thing was it was just about in the turret zone, so he ended up dying as well, but I still think that was a very successful 2v2. So you can probably tell when I fight these monsters, I'm not the most experienced jungler. I'm actually quite a bit of a noob in the jungle. When I see other gamers jungle, more experienced ones, I can see them moving around a lot and essentially kiting the monsters, and also dragging their monster towards the next monster camp that they're going to go for, just for efficiency. But I'm not as experienced. I know that when you fight that big fat frog thing, moving around it and being close to it, you take a little bit less damage. but I'm not exactly sure how it works, so I don't really do a lot of moving around when I fight these things.
Look out! Come get me.
So that gank right there, although successful, it was extremely sloppy. I think it had a lot of good potential. I think I came at exactly the right time, but me and Swain had different targets. I mean, Thresh was clearly the most obvious target, but I chased Misfortune for far too long, and then when I switched focus to Thresh, when I was focusing on Thresh, Swain then ended up focusing on Misfortune, and it was just a bit sloppy, but we ended up getting 2 kills for 1 death, so I'll take that as a success. So I got Kindred, that was quite easy. Couldn't find Urgot, so I'm just going to farm in their jungle since I know Kindred's dead, and I know that if he does come, I can probably take him 1v1. So I know that Kindred's dead again, so I want to go for Herald. I usually try and prioritize Herald rather than Drake as much as I can in the first 20 minutes, and then afterwards I'll focus more on Drakes, of course. But I just find that Herald, it puts a lot of pressure on the opposing team if used well. I had to stop just to get that kill because she was basically begging for it, staying in lane with no mana and barely any health.
Come get me. Look out!
Okay, that was extremely bad timing. I don't even know what I was thinking there. Okay, let's try it. 3rd time lucky. And there's another distraction. And I realized halfway into that fight that the Herald was attacking me as well as Kindred because I was right in between them, so that was a bit stupid of me. I used my smite on the Herald so that I'd get some extra health, and then moved on the other side of Kindred so that the Herald would stop attacking me. And here Cassiopeia came as well, so this is a really bad timing for me. I shouldn't have gone for Herald knowing that I would be targeted because their whole team knew about it basically, but they weren't very coordinated because Kindred ended up dying and so did Cassiopeia, so we were lucky, but facing a better coordinated team, it probably wouldn't have gone down so well. I stayed hidden in this bush because I can see Kindred coming up.
Come get me.
At this point in the game, we've got double the amount of kills that they do, so every lane is pretty much doing okay. If it was anybody else bottom lane, I don't know if they would have done as well as this Swain has been doing, but he's been doing really well, so this looks like it could be our game.
Forfeit your life.
So So I know that Thresh and Misfortune are bottom lane, pushing against turret, but I think Galio and Swain could definitely take them. So I just go for Drake. I didn't think that they needed the help. I probably should have gone, just in case. I know that Kindred's there because of his stupid wolf thing, but I know that at this point I can definitely take Kindred 1v1, and I just need to make sure that he can't steal it. So he did try and go for the steal, didn't have enough smite power to get it, so I ended up getting the Drake and getting the kill as well. That was absolutely filthy play from me. I don't know what I was thinking at the time. I mean, at the time I didn't see that I did anything wrong, but looking back at it, it was such bad play. Cassiopeia was so close to her turret, yet I used flash for some reason, where none of my abilities were ready. So I don't know what I expected to do, even if I was able to catch her. So, terrible play from me. I was probably drunk or something. So hopefully that 3v2 battle made up for it. Kindred just fully inted. I don't even think he used an ability or a basic attack on us. Alistar should have just left. He has the kind of overconfidence that I would usually have and then die in a lot of games, but I knew that it was a bit risky to stay, especially with Urgot there, and I knew that if Urgot had arrived, somebody else was probably arriving too, since there was a Rift Herald. So I left when I had the chance, but Alistar wasn't smart enough.
Step right up. Look out. Mercy polarity.
So now that Urgot's down, everybody is pretty much easily killable. I mean, I would play a game like this and wonder why I'm so strong, but looking at a game, now that I understand the game a little bit better, I can see that everybody is building armor. Urgot's got ninja tabbies, Misfortune's built armor, and so has Thresh, and I don't understand it because the 3 people on our team that are of any threat to them are all ability power. So me, Galio and Swain, all ability power. So I don't understand why they would all build armor. At least Urgot has some magic resist and a lot of health, which makes him harder to kill. In team fights, it might seem like I'm a little bit more experienced with Ekko than I actually am, but I've only played a couple of games with him. It's just that I'm used to team fights where I don't just jump in, because I've played a lot of people like Fizz and Rengar who aren't really meant to be jumping into team fights, and so I've gotten used to waiting for the right moment and picking my timing with team battles and picking out certain players that I can kill and help kill instead of just jumping straight in, which I was usually used to because I used to play a lot of top laners and a lot of tankier people. So I can't play as recklessly, and I know that with Ekko I'm most useful when I'm alive, rather than going for that 1-for-1 kill.
Come get me.
And the reason why I love playing Ekko, which you would have seen just there, is that I can just make the biggest mistakes and play recklessly from time to time, and given that the opposing team doesn't have a lot of CC, I can just use my ultimate and it gives me a second chance, which is so good. And not only does the ultimate give you a second chance, but it also damages enemies if your shadow is where enemies are. The only times that I feel with Ekko you have to play a lot safer is when the opposing team have heavy CC and you may not be able to use your ultimate for a few seconds. But in this game the only real CC they have is Thresh, which isn't long enough to kill me unless they all targeted me, so I don't really have a problem using my ultimate just to get myself out of a bad situation. Also, I just found out this game that you can use Ekko's E on turrets and inhibitors, so I've been using that a lot more since it does more damage. No, I just got ambushed. Maybe I should have waited a little bit longer before using my ultimate, but I don't know how I could have played that any better.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed. Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Don't blink!
Blue team's inhibitor is respawning soon.
Look out! Heads up!
Blue team's turret has been
I just had tunnel vision. I didn't even care about Cassiopeia. I just wanted to get that inhibitor. Because at this point, I know that our team's going to win. We may as well just get it over with. And just there, I went from no health to almost full health. Having an ultimate like this really gives me a second chance, which is so great. Especially in a situation like this. I knew I was stronger than Kindred. I just couldn't let Kindred get an auto attack on me because one auto attack and I'd be dead. But I played that off just well enough.
Come get me!
And as you would have seen there, having 4 items built with Ekko, his ultimate becomes his most powerful damaging ability. So of course you could save that until you're low health, but you could also just use that just to kill off enemies because it does so much damage and
Get right up!
it damages all enemies in that area, not just one. So it's a great ability to have in team fights. I was really proud of that play because never with another champion would I go into a group of 4 like that, kill 2 and then come out with full health. But with Ekko, because of the reset, using it strategically like that, it makes it so effective to pick out players and just kill them, even in a group. As long as, like I mentioned earlier, if the opposing team don't have a lot of CC, you're able to make it out. And that's the game.